Hello there, welcome to today's tutorial. As a reminder, if you've not watched the previous videos in this series, make sure you do to get up to speed. We will be building on the concepts we discussed before. Today, we are going to dive into working with state in React. We will use state to increment a counter when a button is clicked and also dynamically change the color and background color of its parent div. To get started, let's head over to our components folder and create two files, Counter.css for styling and its corresponding Counter.js. In the Counter.js file, we will create a React class component. Before we proceed, let's import the Counter.css file into our page. Inside the return statement of the Counter component, let's give the wrapping div a class name of mainDiv. This will help us to style it. Let's navigate to the Counter.css file to add some styling. We will give the main div a padding of 20 pixels and a text align of center. Now let's go to the app.js file. We need to import the Counter component here. In the return statement, let's call an instance of the Counter component. Let's check the output in the browser and make sure everything is being rendered correctly. So let's navigate back to our Counter.js file. Inside our Counter class component, let's create a constructor using the rconst keyword. In the constructor, we will set the initial state of our component. We will have a count state which we will set to 1 and a style state which we will initialize as an object with a color of white and a background color of black. Moving on, inside the render method of the Counter component, let's give the wrapper div a style attribute with a value of this.state.style. This will apply the dynamic styling based on the state. Inside this div, we will create another div element with the HTML value of this.state.count that will display the current state count value. Additionally, we will create a button element of type button with the HTML text of increment. Now, let's check the output in the browser and see how our counter and button are being rendered. Great! Now, it's time to add some interactivity. Let's attach an onClick event handler to the button element. We will call a function called this.increment when the button is clicked. Let us create the increment method inside the Counter class. First, we will define three constants, R, G, and B. These constants will hold random values between 0 and 255 for our colors. We can use the math.random method to generate these values. Next, we will create a constant called bgColor that holds the new background color using the RGB values we generated above. Similarly, we will create a constant called textColor. This constant holds the new text color using the RGB values as well. To obtain the new RGB values for the text color, we will subtract each value from 255. Finally, we will use this.setState to update the component state. setState accepts two arguments, a function to update the current state and a callback function. The function to update the current state takes in two arguments, the previous state and props. In our case, we will increment the count by 1 and update the style to the new background and text colors generated above. Inside the callback function of setState, we will console.log the current state value just to see it in action. Now, let's check the browser for the output. You should see the counter incrementing and the colors dynamically changing with each button click. So, before we conclude, let's quickly discuss the differences between props and state. Props are used to pass data from a parent component to a child component, and they are read-only. On the other hand, state is used to manage component-specific data that can change over time, and it is mutable. In the next video, we will delve into event handling in React. We will learn how to handle various user interactions such as button clicks and form submissions. Thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions or need clarification, please don't hesitate to leave a comment below. The source code of this project can be found in the description by clicking on the provided link. We would greatly appreciate it if you could like, share, and comment, as it will help our channel grow. Don't forget to subscribe to stay updated and support our community. Bye bye.